Survivors and families of victims of gun violence mourn the lives of the Uvalde school shooting that killed 19 children and 2 teachers. An outpouring of solidarity and compassion from so many people who are showing support and understanding has happened, including survivors and families of victims from the Sandy Hook school shooting. ABC News Chief Global Affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz sat down with several Sandy Hook shooting survivors for ABC News This Week, and here is a preview of that.
What would you say to the survivors of Uvalde, the other children who saw horrible things, who might have been in that classroom?
I mean, there's really no perfect words you can tell someone that went through something so traumatic. So we're here for them, and it's hard thinking that they're gonna have to live the rest of their lives with this trauma.
We completely stand with them and support them, and you know, as devastating as it is that they now have this community of people who have endured a tragedy, they have a community of people who understand them. And I think that has been something that's kept me going, is that the people around me know what I'm going through. And I hate that they do, and I hate that now these little kids are part of our community, but we're here for them in any way that they need. And I'm sorry that they're with us now.
Oof. Martha Raddatz joins me now, and Martha, just looking at their faces, and at that moment, I can't imagine what that interview was like. What's your general impression of, first, how old are they?
They're now 16, 17, one of them 18, graduating. They were second graders and one third grader. Most of them have never spoken publicly about that experience, but felt compelled to do so because of Uvalde. I think, Terry, just hearing, they have obviously been haunted their entire lives. They were
almost see it.
Babies. They were babies. And some of them have the worst possible memories. One of the young women, who was 7 years old at the time, said she was in the classroom across the hall. She heard everything. That we've seen those images of the teachers telling them, just close your eyes and put your arms on your friend in front of you. Don't open your eyes, and we'll guide you out. And Jackie opened her eyes, 7 years old. And I did not ask, because I'm very sensitive to things like this, I did not ask exactly what she saw. But she described blood and lots of glass, and she was afraid she'd step on glass, which is why she opened it. But they were also so young, Terry. They didn't understand death. They didn't, none of them knew what gunfire even was. So when they first heard that, they didn't even really understand what it was. And then had active shooter drills at that age, at 6 and 7. It was really made me heartsick. It did, and knowing especially Uvalde and all these other shooting victims, but especially Uvalde and those families and those survivors, that will haunt them forever.
And now there is this awful, this disgraceful community of children who've survived that. Yeah. And we just heard you asking them about it. Do you get the sense that there is this American bond between them and the kids in Uvalde?
Absolutely, and I think one of the things so horrifying for the Sandy Hook survivors and victims is that it was 4.5 minutes. It lasted 4.5 minutes. And when they think and then they said it felt like forever. And when they think about the Uvalde victims and the survivors being in there for well over an hour, and of course, you know, you've talked about this week, and talking to the hearing on the Hill with the little 10-year-old smearing herself with blood, being in there and calling for police. I mean, for the Sandy Hook kids, they are just appalled by that.
And do you get the sense that as 16 and 17-year-olds, in part because, as you say, they were so young, that there is a resilience, that there is a day after, that they are going to have productive and happy lives?
I think they're all, I mean, they're so admirable. They're all trying very hard, and they have, and they not only feel the bond with the Uvalde survivors, but their community. You know, I had never been to Newtown. That's not a story I covered at the time. It is an absolutely beautiful community, but it's heartbreaking to drive in and to go by the school. The school is still there. It's now gated.
That school open.
Gated. You can't get in there. But those survivors feel like that community understands them. They know the trauma. There was one of the young men said he walked out at one point and had a Sandy Hook T-shirt on to go to friends and people are like, oh, were you there? And he was so appalled because they didn't ask the right questions. They didn't understand. So I think they feel safer in that community, and yet the trauma remains.
And on This Week, this is such a great idea to do this, and I know it was hard to do.
It was, but then they were just so lovely. They're so lovely.
So what else are we going to see on this story?
Well, we're going to talk to those who are still advocating for gun rights, who don't want to get rid of assault weapons. We are talking to the governor of Connecticut, who, of course, does want more gun control and is appalled that this ever happened again. We'll talk about that, and also on This Week, we'll talk about that January 6th.
Well, let's dive, because you were on the streets covering that on that day. What did you make of the hearing?
Well, I thought it was compelling. I want to see more. I wished to see more of an Ivanka Trump or Chairman Milley, who clearly had some compelling testimony there. Jared Kushner. I hope we see more of that.
All right. Well, we will, I know.
Yes, we will.
And next weekend, we'll see you on This Week with that story and this one on Sandy Hook for more of Martha's interview with those survivors. Be sure to tune in on Sunday for This Week with George Stephanopoulos, anchored by Martha This Week. I'm Terry Moran. Thanks for joining us. Remember...
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.